Hello, I'm James Preston for Kalkine Media and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. In this edition, I'll be shining a light on Collaboro, and the best way to do that is to sit down with CEO and founder Warwick Boutler. Warwick, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks, James. Lovely to see you.
Mate, always good to catch up. And Warwick, first and foremost, for those who aren't familiar with your platform, what is Collaboro and how does it work?
Collaboro is a digital asset management company. So we solve the storage management, hosting and access to huge amounts of video, image and artwork content for our customers. So what we noticed around, my background is in TV commercials. So what we noticed was that 5-6 years ago, we'd go and spend a heap of money that an ad agency would be provisioned by their client, make a lot of great things, but those things would end up on hard drives in cupboards. And eventually our clients wanted to be able to access all of those assets, be able to share them, be able to extend their network and be able to own that knowledge. So Collaboro centralizes all those assets in such a way that our clients can find them very easily through search, can then share them and download them and use them in the products that they undertake production and marketing in.
And so does all this operate within the sphere of, say, like a cloud type based solution?
Yeah, absolutely. Our core technology is a cloud platform that we've self-developed here in Australia. It's pretty powerful and it's 100% Azure. So we're lucky to have Microsoft as a partner, and that allows us to, leverage some of the great technology that they bring at a global level to our customers here at a local level.
Now, Warwick, you're someone with significant experience in the world of commercials and content creation. Do you feel that Collaboro completely changes the approach to creation, or is it more a case of streamlining processes?
I think it fits somewhere in the middle there, James. So we certainly help our customers streamline their processes. What we don't want, and certainly what I didn't want to do as a producer when I was producing TV commercials, was to go and shoot things that already existed. What I wanted to do was to use that production budget to go and create new things, to create new content, and to focus on the creative outcomes that the ad agencies would make. So what we're therefore able to do is to surface assets that are ongoingly relevant for future production, and that therefore frees up budget for additional media spend, and in addition frees up budget for greater creative spend in terms of ad agency and I guess you'd say scripting. So it sort of fits, as I say, somewhere in the middle there between making production far more efficient, obviously making post-production and future use of assets 1,000,000 times more efficient than otherwise just sitting on hard drives and cupboards. So it's a combination. I think the big thing that it does above all is it takes that knowledge that I guess no one really owned. People were shirking the ownership of that knowledge and those assets, and places that in the owners, in the home of the owner, the company, so that they can use those assets however they want to use those assets moving forward.
Well, let's say it's a software company, whether it be Pepsi or Coca-Cola, for example, and obviously there's a lot of ads that those big companies do put out. And I would imagine, there's not going to be a great deal of change with the bottle, for example. We always love that shot where there's a bit of perspiration on the outside of it. Could you use your platform to just go and, I suppose, pick any one of, say, 10 different previous existing shots of that particular product and then just go, great, here it is, we don't need to film it again, we can save 50K on that particular day of shooting? Is that pretty much how it works?
Mate, that's exactly right. And it sort of crosses all asset types. So it might be video, it might be imagery, it might be, for one of our customers, we're helping solve the problem around having bought and used stock imagery, having to place that somewhere so they can use it again within their rights and permission period. I think it's also worth touching on the fact that all of these assets in the advertising and marketing world have usage, copyright and talent attended to them. So by managing the asset, not just here's where it lives, but by taking the here's how you can use it and adding that as information against the asset in our platform, allows our customers to know what they've got and find it, but then to know if they can use it.
Now, the other thing you mentioned there, Warwick, is that it's not just restricted to video content. So what else can Collaboro be used for?
James, we take care of assets as wide-ranging as digital assets and image assets, layered artwork assets, even documents. So what we find is our customers at the end of, say, a large production project, be it images or video or whatever, they might wrap that project up and include all of the documents that attend that production. And we'll take care of everything so that they don't need to think about it into the future. I think what's important to note is in the marketing sphere, the usual tenure of a marketing person is under 2 years now. So companies lose the knowledge of those people as they lose the people as they move on. What Collaboro does is not just takes care of assets, it also takes care of the knowledge that a company has gained through the process of production over time.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I mean, companies, large and small, are often around for, the best part of half a century, sometimes even more, depending on exactly what kind of company it is. And then, as you mentioned there, 2 years is the average tenure for marketing, which is just crazy stuff. In terms of Collaboro and its competitors, I mean, I'm not exactly sure who would be your direct ones in the space. Do you have any direct ones? And if so, what separates you from the pack?
Well, I'd say there's two topics there. Our direct competitor really is ambivalence. Most of our sales go to greenfield opportunities, i.e. they've never had digital asset management before, and they don't. They sort of come to us with a problem that is scoped in terms of we can't find these things and it's slowing us down, or we can't find these things and it's therefore costing us lots of money to keep shooting the same thing again. Those greenfield opportunities are either buy something, ideally us, or buy nothing. So certainly buy nothing is our number one competitor. However, we have a couple of other competitors in the marketplace that are pure software. So Collaboro takes our cloud software and we wrap some services in it. We know that our customers are marketing people, they're production people, they're agency people. They're not digital asset managers by trade. And digital asset management requires more than just software. You need people to do the doing. I guess it's the same reason that the state library exists. It's not just a building with books in it. It's a building with books in it within which people place and manage those books because they're librarians. They know how to do this so that people can find them in the future. And that's what we bring to the table. So not just pure software, we bring services around it so that we can solve the problem for our customers rather than just be another one of these pieces of SaaS that a company buys and then 2 or 3 years later doesn't quite know why they bought it because the people are gone and they churn.
I think that's a great point, especially with the library. I mean, you go there partially for the expertise of the people that are actually working there to find exactly what you need, and that's basically what Collaboro seems to be doing as well. Now, we know that it's run using a cloud software of sorts in terms of storing the assets, but how do we access it? Is it desktop-based, browser-based, app-based?
Pure browser-based, and the reason for that is that as a SaaS play, if we keep it as a browser-based, then what we're able to do is continue to bring app updates, bring developments and bring bug fixes, as any SaaS platform does, immediately. We don't need to update an app that lives in a local environment anywhere. It's all pure cloud. And that's powerful for our customers because they don't need to think about it. Their IT team don't need to be involved, which means that it doesn't slow down the marketing team.
Well, I take you back to 2015. Obviously, that's when Collaboro was formed, and since then you've seen extraordinary growth. How many clients did you have in your first year, and how many do you have now?
We started off with just one client. To be honest, it was actually two. We started off going to market to ad agencies and saying, we know you've got this problem. And of course, through our networks, we knew the people that had the problem of solving how to store and manage big, now digital assets, having transitioned from shooting film only a few years before. So we're able to take that market quite quickly in our ad agencies. Very soon after that, the brands started coming to us and said, hey, actually, we've heard what you're doing. And these assets are really kind of ours. We own them and we want more control over them. Can you work with us directly? And so our focus has been ever since then, since 2015, on the brands themselves. And that means that we work just not with the brands. We work with all of their surrounding marketing suppliers. So what that means is we work with multiple ad agencies and creative production teams to make sure that anything that's created for any one of our customers all ends up in our platform, in our world, so that the brand and their existing suppliers around marketing and production have access to that entire toolkit that the brand owns.
Let's just take a little look at the financial side of things as well. We talked about the growth in terms of the amount of clients you have on board, but how have you seen things progress revenue-wise?
It's been a pretty interesting period through COVID, I've got to say. We had really good growth through until the beginning of COVID. And then as COVID hit, as I'm sure you and everyone watching would know, pretty well business spend dropped to let's just clean the windows and keep the lights on and try and get through this. So our revenue growth stalled and we ended up with totally flat revenue through the 18 months or so of hardcore COVID. This last financial year, however, we've gone straight back into growth mode and 50% up year on year. So pretty happy with the kind of the emergence from COVID. I think one of the big things that I took away from COVID around this business and was able to put back into our investors to give them confidence was that we didn't lose a single customer through COVID. Even though many of our customers reduced their marketing team and their marketing spend significantly, they needed to keep us because we were their library so that when they switched back on, they had access to those assets. And they had the people around them, our people, that knew where those assets were, could help with onboarding new team members as their marketing teams grew.
Now, look, it might be a little bit down the track, but given the history of the company and its growth since 2015, then also having, as you mentioned there, people deciding to stick with you, different companies saying, what they're creating is actually something worth investing in long term. Do you have any long-term plans to perhaps go public with the company?
It's a bit early yet. I think a number of our investors, we're always talking about this at the end at the board table and the sort of wider investor table. And I like to be really open with my investors. I don't think I've got all the answers. I want to get things from them. I want to know what their experiences are, whether we should move down that path. I think at this point in time, our revenue is nowhere near a sort of listing capability. And I think in the marketing technology sector, there's a real focus on two things. One, acquisitions for scale, and it's still a very fragmented space. So those acquisitions for scale are very prescient. Or two, roll-ups, with a very fragmented marketing space, especially here locally. I think there's a real opportunity to kind of bolt a whole bunch of little companies together like us that make sense, that can integrate together, and that become a modular toolkit you can then potentially go and list. I think to me there's something really interesting around there, and there's certainly real efficiencies to be had. So yeah, I think there's some opportunity ahead of us, but I'm not sure what that is just yet.
Well, obviously we can't purchase public shares at the moment, but if someone is interested in investing, how can they do that?
We've got a rights issue going out in the next 6 or 12 months to existing investors. We'll have the opportunity for external new investors to come in and look at that prospectus, and therefore if there's any rights not taken by the existing team, then externals will be available to jump in.
Oh, terrific. Now, where can we find all the information? I'm sure there is a website that has more than just the cloud storage available. It just tells us exactly what is happening with everything. Social media sites, LinkedIn, for example, you cross them all?
Across most of them, I think, we're very focused on sales, so as any small business should be. So all the information really for potential buyers lives at Collaboro.com, and the intent is for our potential customers to be led there, whether it's via social or to get there directly, and then start looking for information on how to work with us.
Terrific, Warwick. It's been great to chat so far. Now, just before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience and leave for some prospective investors moving forward?
But I think if there's any marketing people out there, come and buy what we do. It's quite cool. We largely do it for the biggest brands and the ad agencies in the country, but we work with some of the smaller ones as well. Pretty much anyone that you see that's highly visible in marketing, we work with. In terms of investment, keep your eyes peeled, and I'll push some information out through you, James, and your networks, as well as the other networks I have.
No, mate, you are more than welcome anytime, but it's been great to chat today, and best of luck for the future with Collaboro.
Thanks, mate. It's lovely to see you again, and look forward to talking more.
Absolutely. That's Warwick Boulter, the CEO and founder of Collaboro. And if you missed any part of that chat, you can catch the full interview on our YouTube channel, Kalkine Media, so make sure to subscribe. I'm James Preston, reminding you to stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine Media.